Welcome to the Awakened Sober Podcast, a podcast about life and recovery through Christ.
Yeah, buddy.
Today, welcome everybody, we're going to be talking about trusting the process.
Something hard to do sometimes.
Oh, so hard. I've been having trouble the last couple of weeks, actually.
I had a hard time trusting the process that we are going to get started today.
It was looking grim.
Yeah, it's we've been putting off. We got sick people. We got people with COVID, people with, I don't know, Jeremy has no voice.
No voice,
Probably the best he's ever
bronchitis,
sounded.
I think, or something like that. So, yeah.
Probably the best he's ever sounded.
He does sound very, very good, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have somebody new with us.
You guys do.
Ooh, welcome to the show, Kristina.
Hey.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
She's just going to leave it at doing good.
I was waiting for more probing questions from you guys.
I shouldn't need a probe. You should just be able to speak.
How far are we from?
What's going on in your life?
Daughter came home from Kansas City. She was out there since August. Came home today, back home for full time again. So
She'll be here for at least the rest of the school year, I guess. Maybe.
probably indefinitely.
Probably indefinitely.
I guess until she turns 18, right?
Until it's off to college for her.
And then bye-bye.
Yeah. Then it's
Bye.
hopefully a good college.
Yeah,
College.
Hopefully.
Just depends, I guess, what she decides to do. How's everything else going?
Going good. Still trying to figure out how to get the rest of life going since everything with daughter started blowing up last week. And prior to that, I had a migraine on and off for 2 days. So all the life stuff of house cleaning and getting Christmas decorations set up. So just trying to trust the process with all of it. And we'll get more into this obviously, but I've just learned sometimes you got to go with the flow and some things are more important than house cleaning.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's funny because as Jeremiah was leaving tonight, I said, you see her area and you see mine downstairs. And I mean, until you go into the kitchen where you move some of that stuff for just the time being, but the living room looks good.
It sure does.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Just put blinders on everybody if they.
It's one of those things. Like every time I come over, I feel like the living room is different.
That is part of my self-care.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Is doing that. But the other part of realizing this is, yes, the kitchen is kind of messy, but I wanted to declutter and I haven't been able to finish that because some other things came up that were more important than some of that clutter. And so small
Priorities.
steps, baby
Clutter's
steps.
clutter. I don't care. We got too much crap. Have to just downsize some more. Who knows? Mikey,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm doing okay.
I did not expect that one.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, she did probably. I'm not struggling to the point of like everything's going wrong, but I am definitely struggling in that I don't feel comfortable where I'm at right now. And that goes within especially my recovery. I haven't been really trusting the process. I feel like I've been kind of working my own plan instead of working God's plan, which I know we talked about amongst us a couple weeks ago. You know, when we get into our own way, typically bad things tend to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I've kind of just been like patchworking, you know, trying to hold things together.
Right.
Trying to be that strong, you know, atypical man, which I think is just hilarious. But I've had to reach out and ask for some help lately, and luckily I've gotten it, and it's been really, really nice to see and nice to get that feedback. Because from the outside, everybody's like, you know, everything is fine. But from the inside, I feel like I'm grasping.
Ooh. Yeah, I just think of the seas, just
Yeah.
those waves overpowering, and you just can't get air and you can't see.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm riding the wave. That's what I'm doing. So I know it's not going to last forever, but it's just one of those things, man. You don't know how. I think it's funny. We don't know how good things are until things go bad. You know.
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's riding the wave, trusting the process. You know, diving back into my recovery more. Especially with like journaling, getting more involved with journaling. Just started a new journal last night, so that was really important for my recovery. And there's a lot of good things in there. And yeah, you know,
So
honestly, man, I'm okay.
Which journal did you pick up?
Which one was it? It was the
It's
happiness mastery.
Yeah, it's a gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah.
There's a lot of us on it right now. Sometimes you got to keep the same skill but switch it up so you're not as bored,
Yes.
but still have a lot of the same similarities within that stuff, but just tweaked a little bit different to be excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when Brent gets out, he's not locked up, but when Brent comes,
That's funny.
when Brent
Hey,
moves
Brent.
back home,
Yeah, when he transitions
Yeah.
from sober
Yes.
living back home.
we're going to finish writing the journals that we had started a little while back.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be fun too. Just because we all have insight of what works well for us and what hasn't worked well.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully put it all in and put out a really good couple journals for people.
Yeah, because
I
this
like that.
one, there's a lot to it.
Oh, it's so in depth.
It is very in depth. So in depth that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so you almost have to have someone who's been in it to walk you through it and be like, okay, what do you specifically need from this? And take what you need and leave the rest.
Right.
And sometimes that can be hard for someone in earlier recovery or starting out in the journaling process, but it's a good second one if you can walk that journey with them.
Mm-hmm.
Second or third, maybe. It
This
just
is,
depends.
I think this is number 3.
For you?
2 official, but like my third
Yes.
transition into a different style of
Yes.
journaling. So you said, what did you say? You just said, have somebody walk you through it. That's
Yes.
like, oh, that sounds very familiar.
Yeah. Walk you through everything in life, huh?
Everything.
That's why we have people that are ahead of us.
100%.
We always have to have someone to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually we lead as well, but you know, speaking of leading, I think last night was something I needed.
I think it was too.
It felt good. So last night we started training for the Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah, I meant to ask you, yeah.
I got honest, just up front, vulnerable right up front, and it was nice to do. But it felt good being back doing that. I know that's been a big piece that has been missing. Even though we go to other places, it's still home, doing it at home, right? And so there's something different about your church and being a part of it there and starting something. And so I think that was a big missing piece. Kelsey sent out an email, and I haven't read it yet
Okay.
because I just seen it not long ago whenever we were doing our stuff, getting ready for the show. And so I haven't been able to check it, but she probably sent some days and times, which means I get to go in and go see her. New season.
Yes. And we've had a lot of those lately.
Yeah, it's hopefully maybe the chaos could slow down a little bit. And I've had a lot of good people. So speaking of Mike, I've had a lot of good people always checking lately. You know, you bring something out, they don't know to check on you if they don't know, right?
100%.
And so it took me being honest, and then all of a sudden people going, "Oh crap, yeah, let's check on them." So it's been nice. I mean, Steve checks every day, Aaron, Roger, you name it, and the fellas check all the time. So it's weird. I go from nothing to, all right, this is a whole lot.
But what was your fear before? And I think you're seeing the other side.
Yeah, I think it was more pride than anything, right? Being prideful, I can't let people know that I'm struggling with this. How will it look when we're starting something new if I'm struggling with my mental health all of a sudden? And so there's a lot of fear, a lot of worry, but in the end, it boils down to nothing but pride. Because God's bigger than all of it, but it was me that was trying to get in the way. Hey, we like to do it every once in a while.
We do.
it's hard to trust the process sometimes.
It's so hard.
I
sometimes.
guess this is a good topic to have,
This is,
right?
this is the perfect topic for me this week, because if I'm not like, I always say I want to grow. And over the weekend I had a really good meeting, my home group, and I went to men's breakfast right before it, and actually Perm sponsor was there, and a terrific guy. And I even texted Jeremy. I was like, I could listen to your sponsor talk about recovery all day, because I was sitting right next to him at breakfast. And I was like, the goal is, because we were talking to another guy who was, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. I was like, the goal is to be better than you were yesterday. And he just said, he just took from that, he's like, maybe not even better, but just healthier from yesterday.
Which would make you better.
Which would make you, which I was like, yeah, make you better. But how he said it was like, that's so true. It's like, but how am I getting better on a daily basis if I'm not doing my best in my own recovery? Or how am I if I'm falling back on my laurels, and I'm doing all the old things, and a lot of character defects have been coming out the last week or two, like quick to anger, that's the number one thing. The tiniest things of getting not resentful, but like getting, and I don't want to use the word triggered, but
angry.
It's just angry. And it's one of those things, it's like, no, it's like, that's cool. Let's not push it down, but let's process it. When in reality, I just want to like go berserk. Like I really do. And no one in particular, but that just goes to show me, I feel like I'm getting ahead of the process as opposed to trusting the process.
Yeah. It's easy to do.
It is.
It's easy to find an escape in something, not just drugs or alcohol, obviously, but in anger, in editing stuff. And then you bring somebody over that now just takes that away from you, right? Because now edits are going to take us. I mean, it should not take long. I mean, he set up sound, he set up cameras better.
But look at this perfect timing, right? Like, you've needed that. But at the same time, you editing kept you busy and out of your head, right?
Right.
And we're getting ready to start the Celebrate Recovery and the training and putting all this stuff together. And we meet someone who can take time management for you and not spend so much time on the editing as we're starting this recovery program up again at this church. And we're going to need to have more time to focus on that.
Yeah, and it goes with trust the process, right? Is everything in those seasons has happened for a reason. And,
yes.
And we've seen it time and time again. Look, I've been in a pretty bad headspace over the last year. My wife you have held everything together for this family, really, above and beyond what any person should have to do. Just because I didn't take off and go see a doctor like you told me to do a while back, right? Months ago. But like you said, I mean, editing keeping us busy, life keeping us busy. And then this week, as Celebrate Recovery starts, our daughter comes home. He comes over here. Everything just starts falling into place. We found out that we're going to go ahead and put the schedule out pretty soon, even though we don't have the one side of the building, so that way we could just start doing the services on the other side, because they broke down funding differently for us to where we could actually see it and know what we need to do and have to do to get started here and then keep moving forward. And things just seem a lot better at the moment.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found was don't rush and enjoy the journey. And I think a lot of times we always want to look towards the future and, well, this is where I want to be. And I had a conversation with a client today, and he was like, well, I'm just not happy. And I'm like, okay, well, what would it make to make you happy? And I go, what do you want from life? And he goes, I don't know. And so I said,
fair question. It's a fair answer, honestly.
Right. But at the same time, you have this amazing life and the whole scope of things. And yet you're unhappy. You're not content. You're not joyful. But yet you don't even know what happiness would be for you. So you don't even have an expectation. And instead of us enjoying the journey, and that includes the hardships, we just want to rush everything. And we don't want to slow down and enjoy those moments.
But how enjoyable are the hardships?
They're not. But at the same time,
Can I find joy in it?
can I find joy and contentment in it? And then when I get through that hard time, I can look back and be like, I made it through that without drinking, without using, without self-harm, without X, Y, and Z, without isolating. I made it through this. And even though it was challenging, I came out on the other side.
You can be grateful for the things.
Yeah, I relied on God. I did these things.
And that's where trust the process comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But how? I mean, look, let me tell you, I doubted. I've seen God at work in so many places, in so many lives. I've seen so many lives transformed right in front of me. I've had a front row seat for the last 11 years
Yes.
to life change. And where has my head been? Did I really trust much?
Not in the last year. But have you had moments of trust?
Yeah, I mean, if not, I mean, you know what I'd probably be out doing.
Right.
But man, it's a hard thing to do when you're in that storm. You know, you feel like the disciples sitting on that boat in that storm when they go and they wake up Jesus and they say, Master, we're going to drown, right? And that's how I felt. And how do we trust? I mean, they walked with Jesus. They seen miracles. I've seen nothing but miracles in lives. And yet it was the hardest thing to do is to battle this whole year. And I guess that's the hard thing is how, and we know we've been on this journey for so long. We see it time and time again. And it's just like, just be patient and enjoy. But when we're drowning, we can't see it.
Hey, it's like Dory. Keep swimming.
Just keep
That's
swimming.
that's my go-to sometimes.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Because this year hasn't been easy for me either. I don't like seeing my husband struggle. I don't like seeing my daughter struggle. But at the same time, I've gotten these little glimpses of hope. And that's when I can trust the process. And I know God has a plan. And I don't like where I'm at. So it's like, just keep swimming, like Dory said. And it's stupid, corny stuff for me. And people laugh at me and be like, that's really what your go-to is? Yes, it may be. That may be a little sparkle in my head that keeps me going that day.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes, though.
So me and Brent were talking the other day, right? And we're talking about a couple of services that he's been to. And one of the pastors up the road said his definition of a miracle. So it's not the definition from Webster or anything like that, but he says a miracle is a way. Well,
Those dang elbows of yours.
no, somebody called. And it's funny. I'm glad I muted it when I did.
Yeah.
So a miracle is a way that God intervenes that just does not make worldly sense. And if we look at the miracles in our lives, and we can see them everywhere, it's hard to believe that we can't eventually trust in the process, right? And so I love that definition of it that he gave. It don't make worldly sense. No, it sure don't. See why we're all still alive. I mean, there's probably not a person in this room that's ever been in this room that should be here.
Yeah.
And so, but yet here we are. Not lose faith all the way, but definitely lose faith in ourselves, continuing. And then God to say, hey, look, I put all these people in your life to help you. Use them. Utilize them. And then some of us just too stubborn.
Mm-hmm. You said you don't want to see like the people in your life struggle. My big thing is, and it comes back to that pride and that ego, is I don't want people to see me struggle. Like that makes me more anxious and depressed to let other people see me struggle.
Well,
Even though I can be grateful for it at the end, it's, I got this. Not like I got my recovery or anything like that, because those are the 3 least favorite words in my entire dictionary is I got this. I hate that more than anything. But like just the day-to-day struggles. Like I can get through this. I don't need anybody. And it's like, dude, where was the last 22 months of recovery gone? Like you relied on people all the time, and now you're gonna become a shut-in, and you're not gonna reach out. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's ego and pride and my way getting in the way of God's plan. That's all it is.
But let me ask you a question. So, would you openly share with somebody else your struggles if you didn't know they struggled?
If I didn't know they struggled, would I openly share with them?
Like, how's your relationship with your therapist? How's your relationship with your sponsor, the people at meetings?
Good.
But why is that? Is that because they openly share about their struggles?
Yeah.
So if they're relatable, then if that's helping you, then if we put it out there and say, hey, I'm struggling, I'm broken right now, or this isn't going well, how much are we helping somebody else? Because we're willing to say, hey, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the months and months of recovery. It's like, that's what I was doing. I was putting everything out there because I knew it was relatable and I needed help to be walked through, and it's only been the last couple of weeks to where it's like, I don't know what has changed, or if anything, probably a job switch maybe, but, it's just crazy how those things happen and how quickly it can happen. And it's like, I like I said, my old self was coming back, and I even shared that, like, old Mike, old Bonk, whatever you want to call him. My nickname used to be Foul Play, so that guy is coming back, and I'm like, I hate that guy. I don't want to be that guy again, And I'm not afraid of like drinking or using or anything like that. I know a relapse is always possible, but
the character defects are bad enough.
Defects, man, God, they're just so bad, and it's. Luckily, I have a great girlfriend in my life. I have a very supportive family. I have a very great therapist. I have men in my life that I really, truly appreciate and respect. Without those things, it comes back to gratitude. It's like, without those things, I would be in the bottom of a bottle or at the end of a barrel right now. I know it. I know it for a fact.
Easily. And here's why I say it's pride and us not trusting the process. Because we get to a level of stature in a way.
Comfort?
Well, I wouldn't even say, I'm saying like our job positions.
True, yeah.
So a pastor, he's supposed to have those things figured out. Counselors, therapists, all those things. How do we say that we're struggling and have people look to us for help? But when we're struggling, we are helping. But we can't see it because the pride is there. And I think that's what it is we're starting something new. And so if all of a sudden I put it out there that my mental health is gone, it's in the crapper at the moment. Instead of just going to get help and admitting it and having those brothers walk a journey with me, we try to hide it because we don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing.
Like you feel like the Scarlet Letter or something like that.
Yeah. One thing I love about you, Kristina, is no matter what, when you struggle, everybody knows. And I'm not, that's a good thing because you're not going to hide it. When you're struggling, you tell people. And I think that's pretty cool. Me, I just try to hide it. I can't anymore, obviously, because we put it out over this. We put it out everywhere else, which is nice because
it is.
Like I said, I've had, I get 10 messages, 15 messages a day from people. How are you? That's weird. It's different, and I love it, but I hate it.
Right, yeah. You're like, I'm fine. What do you mean? Everything's okay. No. Thank you for asking, guys.
No, but it's been nice to have people check on you because you haven't had that.
Yeah.
And the reason I do let people know I struggle, and it's, as a therapist, I have to walk that line, right? Of how much do I let people in session versus like not take over the session because it's not my session, it's theirs.
That's right.
But I've also heard throughout the years as I've led groups and talked with one-on-ones, even just during an assessment introduction, they're like, thank you for sharing that. Most people would not. And that's why I want you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what rings in my ears. And it's just been over the years. And even though I walked that line, and obviously it depends on the person and who I'm in the room with and what I'm going to share, that's made a whole difference in their life. And I know that I have a purpose. And so I have to trust that God has put me here and put those clients in my life for a reason, because I'm supposed to walk their journey with them because someone else walked my journey with me and continues to do that.
Yeah, and as a therapist, you do have to.
It's a fine line.
Without a doubt, but it tears down walls, and we know that. You know, and Roger pointed out something earlier to me, even while we were talking. I've never had a problem talking about a past struggle, ever. You know, I went through all these struggles because God used them to reach many, right? I think I did everything wrong in my life so that way I could reach a wider audience. Not saying that God had me do that. I did that. I made those choices. God is just able to use it for his glory. And so I needed to be able to reach all kinds of people. I guess maybe too proud, got too prideful. I don't know. And so this last year is another learning process for me that has sucked to learn the lesson the way I have. But hopefully I don't forget it so soon.
And I think some of it for us too is we don't want to trust the process because we want to go back to controlling everything, because that's our safety net.
So true.
If I can try to control it.
What are you trying to say? I'm not a control person.
What? I didn't say nothing. Takes one to know one, my friend.
Right. But if we look back at our lives, no matter what we've struggled with, we've tried to have control. So if I can control that no one knows that I'm struggling right now, if no one knows this, or if I isolate, no one knows anything, if I can control the narrative and I can control all the pieces on the board, I'm safe. But when we try to control everything, then we start manipulating, and then we actually make things worse. And if we look back when we controlled and we just didn't surrender to God and say, hey, God, I trust you, because we don't want to wait. We want everything on our time. I mean, it's trying to like force feed a 2-year-old a hot dog that they don't want to eat. They're not going to eat it. They're not going to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Bad analogy, but that's okay.
Okay.
I don't want to force feed a 2-year-old.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Oh, it made sense.
Especially
I just don't like the visual.
With 2 small children in my life now. Yeah, I totally get that.
Okay, peaches, mac and cheese,
it don't matter what it is. Yeah, if kids ain't going to eat something,
food.
they're not going to eat it.
So what did you think of the term trust the process when you first got into recovery?
Sorry, I'm not
I like that.
I like straight up. That's how it was.
The process was not fun, and trying to be politically correct on a Christ-centered podcast.
Well, then politically correct and
Well,
Christ-centered.
I mean, more Christ-centered and loving, I guess.
Just use your words right. You're good.
Yeah.
So when I went into recovery, I went into it, I was actually pregnant with my second kid, and restraining order was in place. So it was not a good situation going through a divorce and custody battle, and started on the codependent side. And the court system for custody is not a short and easy process. And so I couldn't control everything. I had someone else and other people dictating a whole bunch of stuff. And it was hard. It was not easy.
So what did trust the process mean to you?
Did it mean anything? Like, I didn't even know what it... I knew it in terms of
I think
sports.
the only...
See, and I think that's what's... I'm going at... What did it mean to you? What did you think about trust the process?
Be patient and stop talking.
Ugh.
I mean, that's really, at that moment, at that time, with everything going on, that's really what it was. Wait and just keep quiet and take care of your kids.
Yeah, and I thought it was a cop-out for people.
I thought it needed to be sped up. Like, what do you mean this is a process? I want 5 years sober right now.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. I mean, it comes back to that. Yeah. Instant gratification. That's where those character defects come in. Typically, those are all going back to, I'm angry, I want to do something, and I can't. Trusting that I have to trust the process that it's going to be okay in the end.
So your adult tantrum?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I haven't actually done one in a while. I feel like one every year maybe might be good.
I think that was one of my favorite questions when I led group, especially an outpatient, was what does your adult tantrum look like?
Mm-hmm. Shutting up and isolating. But then again, I haven't had a really like a big, I wouldn't say tantrum.
Would someone else say otherwise?
Guaranteed. But they don't know.
Oh, yeah. So Trust the Process was the title of a 1996 book on addiction recovery. Never knew that until we were talking about it the other day. And I'm like, where did the phrase trust the process really come from? And so it was first, I guess, in that 1996 book on addiction recovery. Now, you said something about sports. What was it in sports?
So, yeah, it was the Philadelphia 76ers. Just a few years ago, probably a decade ago, that it actually came out, trust the process, and it became like their thing, like where we may be terrible right now, but just wait, and now they're a perennial playoff team, and they're always in, and trusting the process was like,
still ain't one.
Huh?
But still don't
Still ain't
win.
one, no.
Yeah.
It's Philly, man.
Yeah.
But, sorry, Philadelphia. Trusting the process in sports to me went practice, 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 You can get better every single day,
Same as recovery.
Same as recovery.
Practice.
Practice. Talk about practice. Yeah, that's what it was, and that's what it is to me still. It's if I'm doing the best of my ability every single day, that day will be a win. Even if I do that, some day might be losses. But if I get back up and I do it all over again tomorrow, at the end of a year, I'm going to have a lot more wins than I am going to have losses.
Hopefully, yeah. No matter what, it's going to be a win if we trust it.
Right. And I love how it's like you said, like, look at what happened by simply doing the things that we were doing. And we talk about it all the time. It's not the destination, it's the journey. So trusting the process is finding gratitude and being grateful for the journey that we are in right now. And then I'm going to jump back over to you. Sorry. But you said it's very easy to talk about my past faults. I find it very easy to do that, but it's hard to talk about right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's the thing. People know we have a past. That's
right.
why we are where we are.
And we think that we've got this far, we're not flawed anymore.
Or
we're
too comfortable.
Or I shouldn't be. Right.
I'm too good for that with the position that I hold.
Exactly.
And that's why that pride is
it's a killer, man. It really is.
So trust the process. It can help us to focus or trust on what we can control, the process rather than the outcome. It's hard to give up control. And I always like to say I'm not a control freak, but I know I am in certain things.
I was saying certain things, yes. Other things,
I can really care less about.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
But I think we're all like that. We all have our OCD tendencies. Not that it would be a diagnosis, but there's all certain things that we care about being done a certain way.
And if they're not, look out.
Oh, yeah.
All hell will break loose.
Either we could get mad, flip tables.
Yeah.
Or we can let it go.
But I think you said, Jesus Christ flipped tables at one point too. So, you get angry, you get angry.
I love using that.
Yeah, I know
so
you
that
do.
way if I'm mad.
Yeah.
But
Jesus did this.
Jesus flipped tables.
Can you please not flip the table that I just put the Christmas tree on?
I will not.
Okay, thank you.
I'll leave it alone. The living room looks good at the moment, so I'll leave it alone.
That's international waters. You can't be touched. I have used that so many times lately, and I love it. I love it.
I was gonna go somewhere with it, but then I don't know. International waters, I guess, threw me for a loop.
It does that. Trusting the process is about trusting that anytime something is born, there's a process to it that gets acted out, and some parts of that process proceed more cleanly than others.
I like that.
And I was reading scripture, and I missed what he just said.
You want me to say it again?
Yeah, say it.
Okay. Quote unquote, trust the process is about trusting that anytime something is born, there's a process to it that gets acted out, and some parts of that process proceed more cleanly than others.
But that goes back to how do we act that out? And so we always say in the beginning of recovery, you got to replace, like, if I'm drinking every day, we want to replace it with a meeting every single day. So what skills are we doing? You brought up journaling, and I know you guys always on here talk about journaling. Obviously, I journal all the time and have, I don't know how many pens from Tactile Turn that I love.
Hey, name drop, Tactile Turn.
Tactile Turn.
Sponsor. Yeah. Go on our website, Sober15, get 15% off.
Yeah, buddy. And we'll hit a good commercial here in a few, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, we will. Don't you worry.
But what skills are we doing? Because I can be better than I was yesterday. I can twist that around. But what am I actively doing as far as my actions?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's also going to help change my mind.
Yeah.
I can get up and go through the motions, be like, well, got through today. But what am I doing?
But sometimes is that okay?
Sometimes I agree it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can't get in that rut, but I think that's part of that trust the process. Like,
yeah.
We may go through the motions, but at least we're going through the motions.
Yeah, and I think it depends on like what you struggle with, and is it one of those things that you're consistently just doing that? But if, like, especially if we're further along in recovery, if we're just going through the motions or we're in a funk, what skills did we stop doing that we need to get back to? And we try to overcomplicate it, or we stop doing these things and we wonder why we're an emotional hot wreck, whatever that looks like, being angry, kind of like you said.
Mm-hmm.
We stop doing those things.
The basics.
The basics.
Yep.
Small ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thing that wins games. Small ball. And we quit doing them because we want to practice a home run. We don't want to practice a base hit. We don't want to practice a hit and run. We want the home run.
Right.
That's really, really good. I like that.
But it's true.
It's so yeah, totally.
Yeah, and if you don't like sports, just look it up then.
You'll get it. It's easy.
Yeah, I mean, but it's 100%
Look
true.
up the 1980 Cardinals.
Well, I'm this far in my recovery. I'm too good for that stuff. Why?
It got you where you are.
Right. I mean, at one point, I worked at a restaurant as a busser. And then, I mean, life's, again, a journey.
And you work your way up.
And you work your way up.
Yeah, because God will give us hopes, dreams, aspirations, goals, and he gives them to us right away, right? And it's just an immediate thing that we get. But then there's those times that he gives us just a little piece at a time. And then we're wondering, God, why? Let's speed this process up. Let's give it to you. I need it. I need that instant gratification. And are we going to trust God in it? And it's hard to do. It's hard to kick back in.
But would we trust God if he gave it to us right away? Because certain things we wouldn't. We'd be like, oh, I got it. It's my shiny new car. And then almost take it for granted and be like, I mean, not all the time.
No, a lot of times we do. I said at the beginning of the recovery, if I knew at the beginning of the recovery what I knew 3 years later, I wouldn't have been sober. I'd have screwed it all up quickly. There was just something about it that you could see why the steps were put in the order they were put in for those of us that are steppers, right? And we could see the process and the journey that we needed to go on to get to where we were. Because if we knew that stuff up front, I was gone.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, as we have to wait, we could see God prepares us for that journey, right? And God to shape us and mold us and turn us into what he needs. But dang it, we don't like it.
Not right away.
Okay, I don't like it.
Yeah,
How about
not
that?
right
I won't
away.
speak of we.
Right.
I and me statements. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Which goes into, I found this and I thought it was really good. Grapes must be crushed to make wine. Diamonds form under pressure. Olives are pressed to release oil. Seeds grow in darkness. Whenever you feel crushed, under pressure, pressed, or in darkness, you're in a powerful place of transformation. Trust the process. Trust God. And I think sometimes we forget that. Like, even though maybe life is hard or life is challenging and we're going through something, is God changing us for the better?
Always.
I used to not think so. I used to think I was the victim of it. You know what I mean?
Like you did something, God's punishing you.
Yeah, like why? What have I done? You know, I'm a good person. I thought I was, but you know, I might have done some good things, but no, yeah, that I love that because like I always say, especially in the rooms or in the groups I run, it's like I don't like recovery is hard, right? It's really really hard, but I don't want anything easy because the easiest thing I could do right now is literally leave here and go drink. That is easy. That takes no skill, no work whatsoever.
It'll just take work later.
It's going to take, you know, so true. But I want those hard times because that shows me that I can get through them. And that shows me that I can be more grateful for the good times that I do have.
So in those hard times, what does God build in you?
Man, I just had a word on my...
He grows our character. He grows our faith.
Right.
Resiliency.
Resolve.
Yeah. I mean, he grows all these things to prepare us for what he has called us to do. But dang it, we don't like it.
But I think it also helps us grow dependence on him and build a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Instead of things on this earth.
And that's where that faith comes in.
Yes.
I mean, he grows our faith tremendously. And to sit back and thank him in those times, you know, when this season, I'm hoping is coming to an end. With the things that are being put in place now, it seems like that season is coming to a close, I hope. And as it does, I want to be able to thank him. Because right now, I don't want to thank him. I'd rather have a boxing match with him at the moment. And yes, I know I lose every argument I have with him. But that's where I'm at with it. You know, it's like, why? I know why. Because I needed to quit being a jerk. Because I needed to trust people. I needed to trust him. But I also needed other people in my life that I would allow to speak into it. And I'm sure there's going to be something at our new location that I need this for.
And I think trusting the process and having those people in our life is trusting that the people God has put in our life, that we're willing to listen to them. Even when they're telling us the truth, and the truth is something we don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, truth is something that we don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody has to come up and really speak truth in that way, it's not something that we want to hear.
Right.
And as long as it's done with truth and love, which was a hard thing to learn, right? Truth without apology, I was good at, you know, whether you liked it or not. But truth and love is something totally different. And if they have our best interests at heart, hopefully we could receive it. So in trusting the process, I love the example here. So 1 Samuel 16, God came to Samuel and told him, I've rejected Saul as king. So go to the tribe of Jesse where I have chosen one of his sons to be king. How hard is it to trust in that moment, right? I rejected Saul, and we all know how Saul was. He didn't have much of a temper. Not much of a temper at all. So Samuel was a prophet, but it didn't take a prophet to assume that the anointing of another king while Saul was on the throne might not go well. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be put to death, I'm sure. I mean, you had that coup coming.
Yeah. Swiftly.
So Samuel responded to God and told him that he would be killed if Saul found out. God then said, take a cow and put together a sacrifice to me and invite Jesse and his sons to the sacrifice. So when Samuel arrived in Bethlehem to speak with him, the elders in the town were afraid. After all, when a prophet appeared in those days, it meant that there was trouble. Samuel told them, don't worry, I've come to make a sacrifice to God, and you are invited. And that's when they talk about being chosen. And I don't want to go through all of it because we've been going for a while, and I think this has been a great episode. But there's a piece that I read the other day that I want to get to. Get better, not bitter. I hated hearing that too.
Mm-hmm. I think I need to hear it right now, though.
Get better, not bitter. It says David could have quickly become bitter in his waiting. But see, David doesn't become bitter. Why? Because David knew that God was using the process to bring about God's promise for him to be king. Because when all this was going on, I mean, it's not like it was a quick, hey, you're king. I mean, he still had to grow, be basically a nobody his entire life until that moment when God said, all right, I've shaped you, I've molded you, I've raised you up, and now you can do it. I don't like the season of waiting. The season of trusting that dang process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't like waiting for anything.
No.
I mean, I know you guys have talked about the Shane Lane, which will never happen for you, but
Gotta be cool.
It would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That'd be so awesome. You can call it whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, I like Shane Lane because it just has a great ring to it.
It does. It rolls off the tongue.
You know, I mean, 120.
Oh, man.
Gone. Or even if I just wanted to do 50.
Yeah. You could. It's your lane. You do
That's
whatever
right,
the heck.
Shane Lane. But man, this world would be so screwed up if it was my way. And I know that. Look, I am grateful for the people God has placed in my life over this season. I'm not grateful for the season, but I'm grateful for the people that I have. And I can finally depend on somebody besides me.
But I think that's what it goes back to is why don't we ever trust the process? Because we've never been able to trust ourselves or anybody else. And some of that's for some people church hurt, right? Because they look at God and Jesus and they put it together with religion and church instead of having a relationship
Yep.
with God and Jesus. And why would I trust anybody? I have so much pain because this person, you know, molested me when I was 16 and my parents told me no, I couldn't have the surgery that I needed to in order to play softball, so I can't trust them. And I can create this whole list, and we all can. So you want me to trust the process? You want me to trust the church that this guy said he was a Christian and did this to me? I don't want to trust anything. But then something happens and we slowly have, like, why did I come home after being pregnant and my mom was able to put me under her insurance to see a counselor who got me started in the recovery process? Like, that doesn't happen out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start looking at little things, and we can say it's a coincidence in the beginning, but that's where I think we start trusting something. And maybe it's not God right away, but then it develops over time. And
Something bigger than ourselves.
yes.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Because something, I don't care if you believe or don't believe. I mean, we've talked about it many a times.
Right.
You are not the end all be all. And if you are, you're in trouble. I mean, there's too many things that happen to be coincidence.
Absolutely.
And those of us that have been doing it for a while, we know better. We know better, but
Yeah.
yet, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Falling back into the same old traps. I do want to say this one because I actually love this one. To trust the process is more than an unfilled phrase. It's an unshakable promise. The final outcome of what God is producing in his people is secured. Those whom God has justified truly, he will glorify fully. Even now, Christ has perfected for all time those who are being sanctified. Hebrews 10:14. It is a unshakable promise.
Sanctified.
Oh. You gonna go into all of those? I remember when you had to preach on and write a paper on all of those.
Yes. But think about it. I mean, that's what we strive for, sanctification, right? We strive to be sanctified.
And for people who don't know what that means.
Okay, so prevenient grace, the grace that we get from God before we understand who he is or what grace is. Justified grace, we're talking about when we accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. And then sanctified, we are striving to be like Jesus. Some say we will never hit it this side of heaven. I mean, I don't see how we can, but that's what we strive for, to love like Jesus, to be like Jesus. And so that would be your prevenient, justifying, and sanctification or sanctifying grace.
See, and he says he's not smart. Look at that. Off the top of his head. No problem.
I love Jesus. I just don't like seasons.
Everybody's got their niche.
I want one season, hot, summer.
I'm sorry, we live in Missouri and God has kept us here.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
I mean, he truly.
So far.
All the times that we
So
try to
far.
leave,
I believe
I
it.
don't even know why we try to leave anymore.
Yeah. Because God just keeps telling us in big letters, bold, neon, flashing, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's
Stay
kinda crazy.
put.
It is crazy.
Stay put.
I was going to go ahead. I thought you had something else, but you just read it, didn't you?
I did.
I was going to say, if we're getting ready to close, I think, unless you have something.
No. We're going to be wrapping it up because I'm going to go in. If nobody has anything, I hated this episode. I needed it. But I think it's a good episode. I mean, especially for what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
This season, and I just mean winter, and not the season of my life or anybody else's, but this season sucks for a lot of people.
It does.
Hi.
It's one of the check-ins I do right now. Like, how are you? Like, how's your depression? Because mental health is a really big thing. Whether it's just regular depression, seasonal depression, bipolar, PTSD. A lot of people are not outside, and it's a big check-in I do, which normally I don't do all the time, but it's a big one.
Yeah. Sad. Seasonal affective disorder. And I preached on that, didn't I?
You did, because we talked about the lamps.
And I talked about how I was battling it, but I didn't come out of that season, so I don't think it was just sad.
Yeah.
I think it was just something I didn't want to admit to. But
Well-
I don't, this season really stinks for a lot of people. So for those of you out there, if you know that somebody close to you, or not even that close, struggles with mental health, this is a season that they need you. They always need you, but this is it. This is the time that we lose more people than any other.
And
so-
a simple check-in, hey, how are you today, can make the biggest difference in someone's life.
And when they say I'm fine or they say okay, dive deeper. Ask them what they mean by it. Take them out for a bite to eat, or stop by their house and bring them a burger or something.
I like saying, hey, you're not walking into Walmart. I'm not a Walmart greeter. I'm your friend, or like, this is our relationship. Don't treat me like a Walmart greeter.
Yeah.
Try again.
Yeah.
Put a funny spin on it.
I always just say, okay, so how are we really doing?
Yeah, and I just, when they say fine, freaked out, insecure, neurotic,
And
emotional.
Yep.
And if that's the case, great, then let's have a talk.
Yeah. Let's get out of your space right now.
Yeah, so check on them because they need you. I mean, we all need each other, no matter how far along in this journey we think we are. We're not. Lead from brokenness.
No matter how long you have with your struggle. I think that's a big thing. I don't care if you got 2 days. I don't care if you got 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. No matter what, share it. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to be struggling.
And when you put it out there, it no longer has power.
Absolutely.
I think that's one thing that I forgot really quick. I give it power over me when I hide it. And when I don't hide it, like when I speak it, it no longer has control over me. It no longer has power over me. Yes, it's still real. There's still things going on. But when I allow people to come in, it no longer has power over me. And I have all these people that are loving on me and checking on me. And you'll have the same thing. If you will just give up the power, give up the control, and realize people love you. You have worth, you have value, and you are wanted and needed.
And I think that even goes into God wants to hear your pain. God's okay if you're mad at him and angry. He can take it more than anybody else. I have had many mad and angry conversations with God on paper and in the shower. And he is still there. He's still loves me. Doesn't change any of that. And I think some people are afraid to go there with him. But he'd rather us go there with him than us struggle on our own and not bring it to him. I feel so much better.
Do you? What, when you yell at them?
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel better for yelling at them.
Well, because I start yelling at him and then it's almost, and this is just for me, And I'm so angry. And I'm really angry with him because I'm sitting there. I'm like, why is this happening? Why are you doing this? And I finally get it all out. And then like I start breaking down. And I'm like, okay, there's a point to this. This really sucks right now. Okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I know you love me. It's just part of the process, man. It's okay to be angry with him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody stated the definition.
What is the definition?
Yeah. Don't anybody else know the definition of that
I
word?
just like hearing you say it because then you could tell a story behind it.
This is true. Come on.
Yeah, I don't need to always tell the story, but a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end.
And most of us are, or actually all of us are in a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Series of actions or steps, the 12 steps. I had to take action, so I had to admit that I was powerless. And then I could work the steps. And what is the ultimate end for us? What is the achievement that we're looking to do?
Serenity. Peace.
Yeah. Healing.
Healing, sharing our story with somebody else.
Whatever that is, I mean, all those things. So if I'll take action and surrender and I'll work the steps, I will be able to achieve that through the grace of God. So, yeah, we don't have to battle him. He will grieve with us if we grieve. He will he'll never leave us. He'll walk the journey with us. And he always has. We see those drag marks, and then sometimes we see nothing but when he threw us over the shoulder. And,
The footprints.
yeah.
I
I just
that
like the
one.
drag marks whenever he's dragging us and we're kicking and screaming.
Throwing a See, the adult tantrum.
There
see?
it is. It's back.
Hey, Big Perm can't throw a tantrum right now except for a silent one, apparently, right?
Right.
I'm not kidding. He sounds like a disgruntled call-in person.
Caller.
Not like a caller, but like somebody you call for like a help desk. He sounds like somebody that definitely has been there too long and who does not want to work there anymore.
And smokes way too many cigarettes.
Way too many cigarettes. Got to lay off the cigarettes, Perm.
So in closing, what do you got? You got anything, or did you already do you?
I already did me, man.
All right. Big Mike. Give it a mic.
I feel so much better after this podcast. I'm glad that this was the topic this week because I definitely needed it. And I'll just second what Shane and Kristina said. If you know somebody, reach out to them. Even if you are struggling, reach out to somebody because, like we've all said, the more you get it out of your head, the less power it has over you. So, looking forward to next week. And, yeah,
we got a couple good things coming up.
We got a couple really good things coming up. So please stay tuned.
Yeah. And, look, we still have the giveaway going.
Yeah.
If people want a free pen, tactile turn pen, and is what's sad is with all the things we did today, I didn't even bring one in with me.
Oh, wait. Got it. Right here.
The one who said that he would never use one.
Oh, yes.
We're way past that, Kristina. Come on. We're way past that.
How do you not love such a pen? Something that you could pass down from generation to generation, lifetime warranty. But
yeah.
Just the craftsmanship that goes into it. And from Will down, a phenomenal owner. And, I mean, everybody that works there just has big hearts.
Yes, they do.
Eloza, we love you, my brother. You've made some pretty fire stuff and just such big heart just to send stuff out. And, I mean, I love everybody there. Kevin, you name it.
Yep.
So
where can listeners go?
Awake and Sober. No, I'm just playing. TactileTurn.com. Go there, pick out a pen. Sober 15 is what you want to use, except for on a limited release. We had somebody hop on there and try to pick one up, and that's one thing I always forget to mention. So Sober 15 will get you 15% off of the best pen you've ever written with. I know that.
And you can put whatever ink you want in there.
Yes.
But anytime I show them off, I showed them off last night at our training to some people, and they were like, dude.
Yeah.
Love these.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all the different colors in your pens.
I do.
You still got that golf pen?
Oh, yeah. It's outside.
All right, then.
It is outside in the car. That is. I have saved it for you, even though
a monster.
I needed to sell it.
Yeah, because I want the coffee pen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I've saved it for you this entire time. And look, they have all kinds of metals and sizes. You're going to find something that you like.
Absolutely.
But most importantly, when you have something you like, journaling, the things that we tell you to do that nobody really likes to do, becomes easy to do.
It does.
And I'll stand by it. The best thing that we could do for our recovery, pen to paper.
I will say if these two guys in here, and I know for a fact that they journal, if I can get these two guys in here to journal and it works for them, please journal.
Yeah,
it'll probably work for you too.
Yeah, and this season
most, because you mentioned that earlier, you know, all the things that people go through. I had 3 out of the 4. So this season is especially hard for me, and I think I forgot that this is that time of year, that season. So
yeah,
that was good to hear, just to bring up. So
think about it. If you write during this season and it does not help you, we'll refund your misery for free.
Every time.
100% of it.
And the giveaway. So
the giveaway.
So if you are wanting one of these for free, please send us a testimonial to info@awakensober.org. We're going to go through them. No one will see these besides us, and then we're going to pick one, and we would hope that you would come on here and share your story with us and with all of our listeners.
And somebody said, how are we going to pick it to make it fair? And I don't want to say the best, because every one of them is the best.
Is worthy.
And so we'll probably just number them.
Yeah.
And do a random number generator, which will keep it fair.
And I think that's a great idea because someone may not be a good writer.
Yeah.
And so I think it keeps it fair.
For sure.
We've seen a lot of giveaways done like that throughout the EDC community.
And so not what I think is the best, not what anybody here thinks is the best.
No, not at all.
A random generator. We just want, and everybody will probably come on the show that sends us one and share their story eventually, because.
And it doesn't matter how far you are away either. We have a way to bring you on.
Either through phone and video, or bring you right here and sit you down at one of the love seats.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you do, I mean, if they want to keep it confidential, can they still?
Yes, they can still submit one.
Absolutely.
And win. And if they would prefer, we can actually take some of that and share it and not say who it is, because your story, God's story of your life, will impact somebody and it'll change theirs.
Very cool.
And so it has.
I just figured I'd ask. Some people may not.
No, that's
may
great.
be in a high position.
We've worked with those.
We have worked with a lot of those, and so maybe they want to, but they can't really say what they do for their job and have it come out over the internet.
I 100% agree, but disagree. If anybody's in that kind of a position, whoever
Yes.
their employers.
But sometimes we got to break down those walls, right?
I know, but I'm just saying, yes, we'll keep it confidential, and we would love to share your story for you, because it will change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
So with that,
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We are on all podcast platforms.
yes, we have been, man. Google finally updated their stuff.
We're
and
good to go.
Spotify, as long as I put out 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
absolutely.
everywhere.
We're good to go.
Like, share, subscribe, do all those things, man. We love you guys. God bless you, and thanks for being here.
See you next week.
See ya.
Deuces.